The Nancy Pelosi Federal Building stands tall in the heart of San Francisco. Completed in 1990, the building is named after former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. It serves as a critical hub for federal agencies. Thousands of federal employees work within its walls, carrying out vital government functions. The building is a symbol of federal presence in San Francisco. Its modern architecture is a significant part of the city's skyline. It houses important agencies like the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. This court plays a vital role in upholding justice and the rule of law. The building also houses offices for members of Congress, connecting citizens with their elected representatives. The Nancy Pelosi Federal Building is more than just an office building. It represents the values of democracy, service, and justice. Former President Donald Trump sent shockwaves through the nation with a recent announcement. He revealed plans to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building in San Francisco. This unexpected move has ignited a firestorm of controversy. Many are left wondering about the motivations behind such a decision. The sale of a federal building of this magnitude is practically unprecedented in recent history. It raises questions about the future of federal operations in San Francisco. Some see it as a strategic move to consolidate federal assets. Others view it as a politically motivated attack on a prominent Democrat. The reasons behind Trump's decision remain unclear, but the sale has far-reaching consequences. The decision has thrust the future of the building into uncertainty and spotlighted ongoing political battles. Former Congresswoman Jackie Speier has publicly condemned the decision to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building. She argues that the move is motivated by political revenge, not sound fiscal policy. Speier, a longtime colleague of Nancy Pelosi, believes Trump is targeting the building to settle personal scores. Speier points to Trump's history of using his position to attack his political opponents. She believes the sale is another example of Trump's vindictive nature. Speier's accusations have resonated with critics of the former president. They see the sale as a blatant attempt to punish Pelosi and her legacy. In a fiery statement, Speier called the decision a petty and vindictive act that undermines the integrity of the federal government. She urged the Biden administration to block the sale, arguing it would be a disservice to the American people. Speier's words reflect the deep partisan divisions that continue to plague American politics. The rationale behind Trump's decision to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building remains a subject of intense scrutiny. While some speculate that the move is driven by a desire to reduce the federal deficit, others see it as a thinly veiled attempt to exact revenge on his political adversaries. Trump himself has remained tight-lipped regarding his true motivations, fueling further conjecture and speculation. Those who support Trump's decision argue that selling the building could generate significant revenue for the federal government. However, critics counter that the potential financial gains are not worth the symbolic cost of selling off a building named after a prominent Democratic leader. The timing of the announcement, coming shortly after Trump left office, has also raised eyebrows. Some view it as a parting shot at the Democratic Party and a way to undermine the Biden administration. Ultimately, the true motivation behind Trump's decision remains shrouded in mystery. The news of the potential sale of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building has sent shockwaves through San Francisco. Residents, politicians, and community leaders have voiced a mixture of outrage, concern, and uncertainty about the future of the iconic structure. Many San Franciscans view the building as a vital part of their city's landscape and identity. They express concern that its sale to a private entity could lead to its demolition or alteration, potentially diminishing the city's architectural heritage. Local politicians have largely condemned the proposed sale, viewing it as a politically motivated attack on San Francisco and its values. Mayor London Breed has vowed to explore all legal options to block the sale, arguing that it would be detrimental to the city's interests. San Franciscans are grappling with the implications of losing a building that has long symbolized the federal presence in their city. The outcome of this debate remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the sale of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building has left a city divided. The aftershocks of Trump's decision are being felt far beyond San Francisco, reverberating through the halls of power in Washington, D.C. The proposed sale has ignited a political firestorm, with Democrats and Republicans clashing over the motives behind the move and its potential ramifications for the country. Democrats have been quick to condemn the sale, accusing Trump of using government property as a political weapon. They argue that the timing and target of the sale are no coincidence, pointing to Trump's long-standing feud with Nancy Pelosi as evidence of his vindictive intent. Some Democrats have even called for investigations into the legality of the sale, suggesting that it may violate federal ethics rules. Republicans, on the other hand, have largely defended the decision, framing it as a fiscally responsible move to reduce the size and scope of government. However, some Republicans have expressed discomfort with the optics of the sale, acknowledging that it could be perceived as a politically motivated attack on a prominent Democrat. The sale has further deepened the partisan divide in Washington, highlighting the challenges of governing in an era of hyper-partisanship. The potential consequences of selling the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building are far-reaching and complex, extending beyond the immediate financial implications. The sale has ignited a debate about the balance between fiscal responsibility, government efficiency, historical preservation, and the potential for political retribution. On one hand, selling the building could generate significant revenue for the federal government, potentially freeing up funds for other priorities. Additionally, proponents of the sale argue that it could lead to greater efficiency by consolidating federal offices into fewer buildings. They suggest that this could result in cost savings and streamline government operations. However, opponents of the sale counter that the potential financial gains are outweighed by the symbolic cost of selling off a building named after a prominent political figure. They argue that such a move sets a dangerous precedent, potentially opening the door for future administrations to sell off government assets as a form of political retribution. Furthermore, the sale could have significant consequences for San Francisco. The loss of a major federal building could impact the city's economy, potentially leading to job losses and reduced economic activity. The decision to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building presents a complex dilemma with no easy answers. The proposed sale of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building has faced significant opposition from a diverse coalition of groups and individuals, united in their belief that the move is ill-advised and potentially harmful. These voices of dissent raise important concerns about the motivations behind the sale, its potential consequences, and the broader implications for American democracy. Historic preservationists have voiced strong opposition to the sale, arguing that the building represents an important part of San Francisco's architectural and cultural heritage. They fear that its sale to a private developer could lead to its demolition or alteration, potentially erasing a significant piece of the city's history. Government watchdog groups have raised concerns about the transparency and accountability of the sale process. They argue that the Trump administration has not been forthcoming about its motivations for selling the building or its plans for the proceeds of the sale. Furthermore, labor unions representing federal employees have expressed concerns about the potential job losses and disruptions that could result from the sale. They argue that selling the building and relocating employees could lead to layoffs, increased commutes, and a decline in morale among federal workers. The opposition to the sale of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building highlights the complexity of the issue and the diverse range of interests at stake. The fate of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building hangs in the balance, caught in a web of political maneuvering, ideological battles, and competing visions for the role of government. As the debate over its sale rages on, the building stands as a silent witness to the forces shaping the future of American democracy. The potential sale raises profound questions about the legacy of political leaders and the symbolism attached to public buildings. The building, named after one of the most powerful women in American history, represents the progress made towards greater representation and inclusion in government. Its sale, particularly if perceived as an act of political retribution, could be seen as a step backward in this regard. Moreover, the fate of the building highlights the challenges of balancing competing priorities in a democracy. While fiscal responsibility and government efficiency are important considerations, they must be weighed against the historical, cultural, and symbolic value of public assets. The decision of whether to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building requires careful consideration of these competing interests and a commitment to finding solutions that serve the best interests of the American people. As the nation grapples with these complex issues, the future of the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building remains uncertain.